I've got big news for you, my friends. I've joined the European Court of Human Rights. I am their new agony aunt. Because I say if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. And with the salary, the expenses and the bottomless Prosecco lunches, how could I possibly say no? So here's what's landed in my inbox this week. So I had this come in. Dear Darren, I'm an Albanian gangster, but my son won't eat chicken nuggets. Can I stay? And I say, of course. Britain can't risk nugget-related trauma. And another one. Dear Darren, I'm a Pakistani paedophile. They want to deport me, but my kids might miss me. What do I do? And I say, don't panic. Just say separating families is cruel. After all, it's only British children at risk. Dear Darren, I've failed asylum 7 times. Have you any tips? Yes, my friends, become a terrorist. It worked wonders for a Nigerian woman. She failed 7 times, she joined a jihadi group, and suddenly, bingo, right in. Dear Darren, I got married for a visa, but I wasn't actually there. Can I stay? Absolutely. Here, attendance is optional. You just say it was spiritually binding or that you were too busy protesting for Gaza and hey presto, passport in the post. Dear Darren, I'm a Zimbabwean paedophile, but deportation might be unpleasant for me. What should I do? Oh, heaven forbid, eh? Zimbabwe don't like those pedos, eh? Not so in little old Blighty? Come on in. Not a bother. Dear Darren, I used to be an ISIS, but my police mugshot is ugly. Can they redo it? No problem, pet. The police now offer full PR services for terrorists. We'll let you in, you can cover yourself in your most fabulous niqab, and you'll be safe from the police's oppressive glare. And there you have it. That's my first week as an agony aunt for the ECHR. All of those, by the way, are real cases that have come out this week alone. You couldn't make it up, could you? But don't worry, Britain. If you work hard, if you pay your taxes, if you follow the law, no one will give a toss about you. Anyway, Kai, you must have been really supportive of all of my advice there. You must have thought, Darren, I could not have possibly said that any better myself.
Look, Darren, we obviously both agree that these cases are indefensible, but they are extreme cases. Now, this is madness that the Tories legislated for, and then Reform and the Tories voted against the Borders and Security Bill. Brexit, prior to that, removed the returns agreement that we had and criminalised it, making smuggling easier. So actually, Labour's just now saying if you come through an unsafe route, you can't get citizenship, and the Reform and the Tories opposed that. Now, this is the real deterrent, and actually what is lacking from your monologue is an idea of the solution.
That was my second job.
But what's your solution here? Because we are where we are.
My solution is that we say, no, thank you, pedos be gone.
But these are extreme cases, I'm sorry.
Extreme cases?
And actually, the way they've been characterised...
7 of them in 1 week.
The way you're characterising them is in order to create panic and to over-exaggerate, actually, what is going on.
So, Kai, let me ask you a very straight question, then, and that wasn't meant to be funny. The message, what would your message be to the families who live around the paedophile who was told that he could stay in Britain because he has to take care of his children? Not a safeguarding risk at all. What would your message be to the parents of children who have to live around this?
But he should be in prison, and if he's served his time,
he should be able to stay in.
Then we have to have a way of people who commit crimes then being re-entered into society.
No,
surely.
He should be deported.
Surely.
Why should he not be deported?
Because if he has a legal right to stay in the UK, then he's our responsibility. And we have a pattern here of shirking responsibility for people who are legally allowed to stay.
Are you shirking your... by the way, Emma, I called you Emma Webb. I'm so sorry. Emma Trimble. Emma Trimble.
It's all right. I'm transitioning.
Yes.
How do you identify, yeah.
The problem is the interpretation of the law, right?
Yep.
So this guy who was allowed to stay despite being convicted for paedophilia was allowed to stay on the basis of his right to a family life because he has 2 toddlers who he's not allowed to live with anyway, but even if he was, that's a ridiculous way of interpreting the right to a family life, never mind the danger that he poses to British children here. There was another case where there was a guy who had been convicted. We couldn't deport him. One of the ways that they got him to win his appeal was on the right to a family life again, and his kids had been in prison for various crimes themselves. So what kind of family life are we talking about here? So actually, yes, that to some degree the law is the problem, but the problem is also the way that activist judges are interpreting that law, and it puts everyone at risk. And my view, personally, is that if somebody, say you mentioned, you know, somebody who might be discriminated against back in their own country because they've been convicted of paedophilia here, well, my view is if you don't want to get deported, don't commit a crime. It's not our responsibility. If you've committed a crime, it doesn't matter what happens to you when you go back to your country of origin.
I couldn't give a damn what happens when they go back there.
The Gaza decision was made by someone whose father was a Guardian writer who was an activist in favour of Palestine. The judicial activism and the mission creep is a real significant problem.
It really is. And I also want to go back to something that Kai was saying about it being the Tories' fault. And don't get me wrong, I hold the Tories in contempt for not changing these laws. I really do, and I've not been clear about that ever. But actually, this goes back to Tony Blair. He adopted mass amounts of these ridiculous laws into the human rights laws that he created, which are also supported by the ECHR, and we can't get rid of them, and the Tories certainly couldn't get rid of them without Labour saying, you're all dictators, you want to overthrow the Human Rights Bill, which is, again, a very, very difficult thing for Tories to do without being slammed on the front page for being called dictators and fascists.
Will, do you believe that we have a duty of care to foreign paedophiles? Like Kai does?
I'm on national television at the moment, so yes, no, I don't believe that we have a duty of care to foreign paedophiles. But I think Emma hit the nail on the head that even if we do get out of the ECHR, which I think we should, the ideological capture of the bench means that even if we get out of that awful convention, they're going to interpret other laws in a way which will seriously damage this country. I think that's where we need to start. How do we address the ideological capture of the, you know, Islington class of judges that are now taking over this country?
Yeah, he's not happy.
Yeah. Well, they have, haven't they? Will's absolutely right. The judiciary run this country, so even if you vote for change, it doesn't matter because they're going to be an activist judge who's interpreting the law in a way that it suits them. He's right, isn't he?
To impugn the judiciary in this country, as you all are, is just awful, and that undermines trust in the entire system.
Well, you just got a list of things from Darren. You just got a list of things from Darren, Kai. You just got a list of things that...
Let's actually blame politicians who, 14 years of Tory government failed to repeal the laws that Tony Blair enacted. If it was such an issue...
I agree.
I blame the Tories.
I've got a lot of agree. You don't.
The judges.
Here's the thing. You can interpret a law in any way you see fit, and particularly with these types of human rights laws, they can be interpreted very broadly, and they can be interpreted from a left-wing agenda at the moment.
It's the lawyers that are damaging the trust.
All right, OK.